Welcome back to the Dethroning Your Inner Critic YouTube channel, where you can learn how to stop the self-sabotaging voice in your head from getting in the way of living your most empowered and abundant life. I'm Joanna Kleinman, licensed psychotherapist, and today I want to talk to you about the most important morning routine that can create your inner peace. But first, let's talk about what I really mean when I say living in a state of peace, because peace is really our home. And everything that we long for in our life can actually only find us when we're living in a state of peace. So understanding how to create your inner peace and freedom is truly the most important thing that you can do for yourself. So I wrote my book, Dethroning Your Inner Critic, and I offer my podcast and this YouTube channel to support people all over the world to return home to their peace so that they are also living very different lives, both personally and professionally, and in all of their relationships. So this is one of the most fulfilling and inspiring parts of my life. And so I want to talk to all of you about how to create a morning routine that brings you your own internal peace. So we need to really understand how to return ourselves to a state of peace, because we're really blinded by this thick fog that our culture has created that keeps us from seeing the true nature of who we really are, and knowing what we really want, and knowing what we really feel, and knowing what we really want to say, and how to spend our time doing the things that make us feel good. So we can't see beyond this thick fog that's blinded us until we know how to unhook ourselves from our old beliefs, our old emotions, our old thoughts, and to rewire a very different mind that actually connects us to our true self. So, of course, we all long to be whole, but we don't know what that looks like because we haven't been taught. We've actually been led to believe that we're going to feel whole when everyone else is happy with us, or when we've reached our goals, or we fixed or changed some part of ourselves or some part of our life. But here is what you may not know. All of those desires are actually derived from pain. And most people are blind to this. So most people think that the way to peace is to fix all of the parts that are not what I want them to be, right? And keep focusing on how to control the direction of my future, or maybe to control the direction of somebody else's future, right? To control their thoughts, their emotions, their behaviors, right? And that will be the path to true peace and joy, because then I will be able to make sure that I get everything I want, and I can control how other people see me and think of me and treat me. And right, that's what we think the path to peace is. And this is actually what turns people into the most unhealthy versions of themselves, and has them acting in ways in all areas of their life, including their relationships with other people, that causes the very thing that they don't want. Okay. So it's really amazing what happens when we actually learn to unhook ourselves from what we really can say are false beliefs and false ideas of who we should be and how our lives should be. Okay. And so when we know how to do that, that actually calms our nervous system, right? It allows us to let go of fear and shame and anger and resentment and waiting for life to change and waiting for our circumstances to change before we can feel the way that we want to feel. So what we're actually talking about today is aligning your nervous system, your mind, your heart, your intuition with your true self. So this is rewiring a very different focus for your life, okay? It's actually shifting your, not only your thoughts and beliefs, but over time, that actually shifts parts of your brain so that you can actually teach yourself how to stay in a perpetual state of peace, even if the circumstances of your life aren't ideally what you want them to be. Okay. So most people try very hard to get rid of their negative thoughts and behaviors. This doesn't work. Okay. So the reason why it doesn't work is because we don't actually have thoughts. Our thoughts have us. So when you realize that you are actually not in charge of your thoughts, you don't choose your thoughts, you don't choose what to think, you just kind of automatically have these thoughts. Your job is then to start to pay attention to these thoughts, get curious about these thoughts. And this is why I want to talk today about the most important morning ritual, because that's exactly what there is to do first thing in the morning, to really understand what thoughts are you having? Why are you having these thoughts? How long have you been having these thoughts? Newsflash, in some way, shape, or form, you've had the same thoughts over and over and over again for your whole life. So to discover that the only thing that's keeping you from a life of peace and joy and freedom is your automatic mind, that's a huge game changer. And this is what I want to scream from the mountaintops. When you know how to live your life in a state of peace, you take different steps to align yourself with what you can now see as your inner truth. And you trust that you'll actually be guided to all that you want, but you don't have to keep trying to force life to go in the direction that you want. You just have to learn to maintain your peace, your trust, your flow, your gratitude for who you already are, your appreciation for the life that you've actually already designed for yourself. Now, your growth happens on the edge of your challenges. So our challenges in life actually guide us to the next parts of ourselves that are longing to be healed, right? And so the more parts of our automatic mind that we're actually able to see and then unhook from, because you can't unhook from what you don't see, the more our healing can become a source of connectedness and love to ourselves and to other people. So the more that we find love and compassion for ourselves, that's how we can find love and compassion for other people. And we don't get so triggered by other people and what they say and what they think. We stop taking things so personally. So your automatic beliefs and all the automatic thoughts and emotions that these beliefs create, they open old wounds. And every time your wound reopens, there's another layer of hurt that needs your attention, okay? Not to try to make that hurt go away, but actually to lean into it and to really investigate with curiosity why that wound is there in the first place, okay? Because that wound was created a long time ago by your inner critic mind. So we need to make it a morning practice to turn towards our wounds that were formed way back when we wanted something that we couldn't have from someone that wasn't available to give it to us. And our inner critic said that it was our fault. And that makes us feel neglected or unimportant or not good enough, or sometimes even abandoned. And this is why it's so important to make it a morning ritual to actually connect with your inner critic, because your inner critic is really your inner teacher. So connecting with your inner teacher every day is about examining which thoughts and beliefs make you feel like you are not in alignment with your true self. So your outrage, your frustration, your anger, your blame, your righteousness, those might be very familiar feelings. But when we're able to turn towards the wound and own it as ours, now there's a relief, because now we actually have the power to heal the wound, right? You can find forgiveness of yourself. You can let go of your past mistakes. You can let go of the ways that you didn't honor your truth. See, when we turn into and get guidance from what is truly our authentic self, right? Now the feelings we've been dragging with us through life that make us feel judged or inadequate or abandoned or unloved or neglected or not smart enough, those can slowly start to disappear, because we realize that we made something personal when we were very young, and we've been dragging around those old deep wounds with us ever since. So when we see the truth that these are just made up beliefs that we invented and created a long time ago, it is that truth that sets us free. It is that truth that changes our nervous system. It is that truth that brings us to a state of peace. And that's what a morning ritual of seeing your inner critic before you start the day can actually do for you. When you can unhook yourself from your suffering, you stop being so triggered by your boss or your in-laws or your children or your spouse or your judgmental neighbor. You bring your inner life into alignment by doing the daily work of meeting your inner critic every day. And one small step at a time, you investigate your blind spots by using your painful emotions as your guide. You do the daily work of unhooking yourself from your automatic thoughts and emotions, and you can cultivate your own inner peace one small step at a time. And as you stop taking things so personally and feeling so wounded, that's when your life begins to transform. You actually start to think different thoughts that tap into different emotions that have you taking different actions. And it is those different actions that give you an entirely different life. See, that's when you open yourself up to a life that looks dramatically different. Your relationships come into alignment. You don't experience as much self-doubt. You're able to make decisions with more clarity. You know yourself in a profoundly different way because you do the daily work of unhooking from your automatic mind, and you liberate your natural ability to let go of any unwanted emotion right on the spot. You allow all that suppressed energy that your inner critic has been holding on to and shoving down to actually rise to the surface. When it rises to the surface, that's when it can dissipate. This is how the old parts of your personality start to disintegrate and new parts of your personality emerge that are more peaceful and more relaxed and more centered. Okay. So the irony is that the way to let go of an unwanted feeling is to first welcome the feeling and allow that emotion to just be. I still have to do this all the time, right? My inner critic thoughts show up all the time. But once you know how to practice this on a daily basis and you see the true origin of the emotion, that's when you can then access your true self. That's the authentic self that lives behind the emotion. This is how the emotion drops away. It's like a cloud passing in the sky. See, even your deepest wounds are created by your inner critic mind. Your authentic self is only peace and love. So when you're able to tune into your authentic self, there is no wound. There might be something that happened in your past that caused pain, but there's no intense emotion because you're actually poking a hole in what you have believed has been the truth. It's like your wound is a soap bubble, right? You thought it was a concrete bubble, but once you start uncovering the core of the wound, you start to see that your inner critic convinced you of something that was really just smoke and mirrors. So here are some questions to ask yourself every morning that can help you unhook yourself from your automatic inner critic mind, right? The first question is, where's my inner critic complaining, criticizing, and judging me or someone else? The second question, where is my inner critic causing me to worry? The third question, what is she saying about my day ahead? The fourth question, what about me or my life is she saying isn't good enough? The fifth question, who am I feeling hurt or frustrated by? And the sixth question, where is my inner critic seeing me as inferior? So practice these 6 questions every day. Get out a journal, write down these questions and practice them every day. And start to pay attention to how that might shift how your day unfolds. Now, it's over time, these small shifts end up producing really big changes. So thanks for listening, everybody. If you want to have more videos like this at your disposal, please subscribe. And if you know that there's somebody in your life that needs to listen to these videos, please share with anybody and everybody that can benefit. Thanks for watching.